I'm Jason with the All Things Open team. I'm here with Katherine. We're going to talk about AI, security, privacy, and more. Katherine, please introduce yourself to the All Things Open community.
Thank you. This is fantastic. I'm so used to being on the other side. So I'm Katherine Druckman. I am an open source evangelist at Intel. I also do some podcasts, and I have done podcasts for a while. So this is going to be super fun having to be in the hot seat. I'm usually on your side of the table.
Well, let's jump right to it. I understand that you're passionate about open source, security, and privacy. How did you first get involved into that?
Oh, okay. Well, that's a long story. So it's been, or at least it's a story from long ago.
There you go.
I first got started in open source when I was trying to build a website. I wanted to build a website for, I can't even remember at the time. Oh gosh, it's been so long. I don't remember what it was for. I wanted to build a website, and I asked a friend, I said, hey, I've read about these open source content management systems. I kind of vaguely knew what that was. And I said, hey, could you recommend one? And he's like, oh yeah, there's several. At the time, this was a while ago. So I think Mambo might have been on the list. Anyway, but he said, hey, so you should check out maybe WordPress, Drupal, some things. And long story short, I got involved in Drupal. I started building some websites. I went to work for Linux Journal, which was an open source magazine back when those were a thing.
Yeah.
I ran the website and basically everything digital for a long time. And then I went into engineering, and now I'm at Intel. And the whole time, I've been fortunate to have a job that allows me to contribute to open source projects, allows me to contribute code, allows me to contribute to the community. It's been great. But it's been a while now, and it's been a really great experience.
Well, you're bringing back some content management memories for me.
I
think I evaluated every single
right?
open
Oh,
source
I did
system.
Too. Yeah.
So, do you remember Plone?
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Sure.
When
I remember one of its lead developers. I met him at a party, and then I had this whole I had to be like, oh, well, mine's better than yours. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, we were doing a project, and we had open source was a requirement. So our top three was like Plone, WordPress, and Drupal. We went with Drupal for community purposes of what we wanted to build, so that was cool.
Drupal's kind of an interesting, can I say gateway drug? I don't know. It's kind of it's been a gateway drug for a lot of open source people that have gone on to do bigger and better things, maybe, but they got their start in that community.
And they've got a great community. So
yes.
Well, how do you approach open source and security?
I think first of all, security is my approach to be perfectly transparent is out of fear. So that's how I got into open source security. I started caring more and more about it, as a software engineer, and feeling the weight of the responsibility of maintaining a project that people use in production for things that are important, right? All of the software that we collectively, if you can collectively define the open source community as a whole, but all of the software that we're involved in releasing out to the world, a lot of it's really critical stuff and really important stuff runs on it, and we are stewards of important sensitive data, which I'm sure we can get to in a minute. But I think it's the weight of that, and then the fear of messing it up so that you put somebody else in a vulnerable position or even ruin their day as an engineer.
I want to dive deeper into security and AI. What are the security concerns when we bring AI into the picture?
So it's twofold, right? On one hand, we're talking about something like generative AI applications. Applications are still applications. So there's a lot of the traditional application security that you're going to have the same concerns, right? But then AI adds a new layer of complexity. With that complexity, it's also a little bit of the black box thing, right? So you have models are coming into the picture. There's a level of sensitivity of the data that's been collected to train all of those models that creates another layer of complexity. And then you have things like concerns about misinformation. People tend to take the results of these things kind of at face value. So OWASP, for example, has added misinformation as one of their top 10s for generative AI security.
Sounds like a matrix.
It's a multifaceted concern here. There's on so many different fronts. You have the increased complexity, and then the sensitivity, and then the fact that people are so gung-ho and all in on this hot new thing that sometimes we do as humans forget to take a step back and go like, okay, we still have the same security concerns. We can't take every piece of text generated by something on the internet at face value, and we need to take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And remember security.
Well, let's add another complex layer to it. What about data privacy with AI?
Oh, gosh. Yes. Okay. So that's another thing. Again, we're all gung ho. And we're just dumping our own personal data into these things where there's the way that we interact with the applications themselves. And then there's, of course, the stuff, the training data, right? Where does that training data come from? How has the training been done? What do we know about it? What can we attest to? You know, a lot of the things that make it just, again, a very complex picture and something where I would like to see people get together, as we do as open source people, and work on solutions, right? Really evaluate this thing through a security lens and hang out, find the answer.
Perfect. Love it. So there's a lot of discussion about AI's role in development. Do you think AI will replace developers? It's the hot topic.
No, I don't think so. It will change the way we develop, for sure. I don't think it replaces anything, or at least not for a very long time. It depends on how you define developer, too, right? You know, what does development look like in 20 years as a result of AI? I'm sure it's quite different than what we think of right now. But will it replace it? I'm going to call it as a no.
We're going to shift gears to talk about productivity. What's a new tool that you've been using lately that's making you more productive?
So I actually, in terms of publicly available tools, I kind of like Claude. It's a time and a place. And as long as you, again, put on your security hat and you're careful of what you put into these things, do not share your sensitive company data with a public generative AI application. But for certain things, like summarizing long pieces of text, fantastic for that. And there are other things where, but you always have to validate it. But I have had good results with Claude. I'm happy to plug that.
Sounds good. Thanks for sharing. What's one tip, best practice, or a piece of advice that you'd like to share with the All Things Open community?
When you're submitting a CFP, try not to just enter something into ChatGPT and then plug in that output into the CFP form. So that's my one piece of advice. Be a little bit more careful, because as somebody who's reviewing a lot of those, that's my advice to this community. But the other one, can I just steal a piece of wisdom from Ted Lasso?
Let's do it.
Stay curious. I think we're at a really interesting time in history, and as technologists, and things are changing. You know, we're seeing many inflection points, and all of the things that we're doing. And I suppose there's a curse, right? May you live in interesting times. But on the flip side of that is stay curious, right? First of all, we don't have to learn everything about everything. So try not to get too overwhelmed. But dive into that curiosity and learn some new stuff, because there's so much cool stuff happening. It reminds me of almost like early days of the web or something. I've just dated myself, but whatever. But it's very exciting. So stay curious.
I love it.
Be Ted Lasso.
You heard it here, folks. Stay curious. Katherine, thanks for your time today. I really appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. This was really fun. It's not so terrible to be on this side.
Yeah.